Imagine flying into Indianapolis on a bright July morning and seeing a 34-story portrait of Caitlin Clark smiling back at you from the side of the JW Marriott. Below the banner, souvenir stands spill onto the sidewalks, hotel lobbies pump nonstop highlight reels, and every lamppost along Georgia Street sports the slogan, "From downtown in my town." It looks and feels like basketball heaven, until suddenly, it doesn't. On July 17th, one push alert shatters the spell. Clark's aggravated groin injury rules her out of the WNBA All-Star Game, set for just 48 hours later.
Caitlin Clark gets hurt, and guess what? Your demand vanishes because people ain't going to pay up to see these athletes that are ungrateful that their sport's growing. People aren't paying up for that. And we are here, right here. The tickets for this game, for this All-Star Game, they've dropped by 50%.
In real time, you can watch the bottom fall out. Ticketmaster dashboards blinking red, resale prices nosediving, local shop owners refreshing their phones in disbelief. By nightfall, the get-in price that had spiked past $120 is clinging to $64 and sliding. The coronation that was supposed to cement the league's record-breaking rise has mutated into a painful case study in how fast momentum can vanish when a single superstar goes down.
From $121 all the way down to just $64 after news broke that Caitlin Clark won't be playing. These are people saying, I'm done. I don't want to watch. Caitlin Clark's not. I bought tickets solely to watch Caitlin Clark in the All-Star Game. I made accommodations solely to get to Indiana to watch Caitlin Clark in the All-Star Game. She's injured. I have no interest in that anymore. People are selling their tickets so much so they just want off of them. 121, okay. You want it for 100? Oh no, okay. I guess I gotta lower it to 80. Oh, you don't want to buy it for 80? Okay, I guess I'll lower it to 70. You don't want to buy it to 70? I guess I'll lower it to $64. The WNBA is paying attention to these trends, and they're seeing firsthand what Caitlin Clark is worth to this league.
Entering the weekend, league officials were openly celebrating an unprecedented surge, 10 straight national broadcasts, over 1 million viewers, a sold-out regular season run for the Indiana Fever, and secondary market all-star seats fetching NBA-adjacent prices. This was not hyperbole. TickPick confirmed the average resale hit $262, the highest in WNBA history. City leaders responded by commissioning pop-up courts at the airport, hiring extra shuttle lines, even extending bar hours.
The ticket prices, the demand fell off a cliff. And it's not just the on-court product that suffers without number 22, Caitlin Clark. The entire weekend's economic opportunities have felt the fallout.
In short, Indianapolis bet on the Clark effect the way Silicon Valley bets on a unicorn IPO. All in and blissfully confident. Yet, baked into the celebration was a fragile math problem. The league's biggest tentpole depended on a player nursing a nagging lower body strain through an increasingly physical season. That same season, fans and analysts had warned was flirting with disaster because referees let defenders treat ball handlers like heavy bags. The fuse was lit long before it finally burned down.
Really unfortunate that Caitlin Clark missed it. The crowd would have been exploding. The crowd would have been exploding. The arena would have been exploding. Oh man, a big miss as far as the WNBA is concerned.
Clark's withdrawal made theory tangible. Within 6 hours of the injury bulletin, the price tracker at SeatGeek charted a 48% plunge. TickPick posted side-by-side screenshots, $121 slashed to $64, that went viral faster than a Steph Curry heat check. Sellers who'd planned on flipping packages for tuition money were suddenly pleading in Reddit threads, "We'll eat fees, DM me." It wasn't merely the numbers, it was the speed. Previous dips, when Clark sat a regular season game, took days.
But when it comes to the vendors in the arena, the shops in the arena, they're not going to have the same amount of people patronize their business as they would if Caitlin Clark was there. The surrounding restaurants, the surrounding areas, the surrounding attractions, they're not going to have the same number of people patronize their business as they would if Caitlin Clark was healthy.
The All-Star collapse happened over lunch. Data analysts at Front Office Sports later likened it to a flash crash on the NASDAQ, illiquidity amplified by panic. By Friday morning, entire seating banks at Gainbridge Fieldhouse were flagged by ushers as open for walk-ups, something that hadn't happened in Indianapolis since the Fever drafted Clark 15 months earlier. The market had delivered a brutal verdict. Remove the headliner, and the marquee event loses its marquee value.
This year, for the second time ever, the WNBA All-Star Game was supposed to feature an actual star. Normally, this celebration of pretend basketball features players that no one's ever heard of.
Why this violent reaction? Because Clark is not just a star. She is a rising tide. Nielsen's midseason report puts her name in 43% of all WNBA-related social posts. Road attendance jumps by an average 6,000 when the Fever visit, a swing no franchise other than the 2010 Heat Big Three era ever matched. Merchandise? Fanatics says Clark-branded items outsell the next 4 WNBA players combined. Sponsors treat her highlights like electricity feeding the grid, and local economies feel the wattage. Here's the part that infuriates coaches. This injury was predictable. For months, Fever head coach Stephanie White warned that officials allowed defenders to mug Clark with a level of physicality nobody else sees. Data backs her up. According to an independent log by kinesiologist Lucas Seeheffer,
yeah, I mean, there's a level of physicality that they're able to play with against her. I knew it as an opponent, and I see it as her coach. I'm not exactly sure why, but it just is what it is. And we've got to help her learn to adjust and use it against them in certain ways. We've got to find some ways to make it a little bit easier for her. But the level of physicality overall in our league has been at a different level than it's been for a long time.
141 reportable injuries have hit WNBA rosters this season. 57 to the head or neck, disproportionately to guards. Clark alone absorbed 20% of all flagrant fouls last year. This season, she was repeatedly hooked, grabbed, and hip-checked off ball with whistles swallowed.
How did we get to an All-Star Game in Indiana where Caitlin Clark is not healthy enough to play? Well, it all started last year, in her rookie season, where she received 20% of all the flagrant fouls in the league. And most of them came from Angel Reese in the Chicago Sky. And these weren't basketball plays. They were not only fouling her, but they were getting up, laughing about it, laughing about Caitlin Clark getting assaulted. Any other work environment, people go to jail for what's going on.
National broadcast caught Rebecca Lobo audibly groaning, "That's a foul, that's a foul," on slow motion replays.
The ball handler, there's a grab, there's a hold, there's another grab. I mean, all of those are fouls. Every single one of them. And here, that's a foul, and finally they call.
The optics are grim. A league finally breaking through to mainstream sports culture, but simultaneously delivering a product that sometimes resembles roller derby. When the brightest new face spends more minutes wincing than running off pin downs, you've built a bad incentive structure. A cage match that punishes talent instead of elevating it.
And last year, I noticed how much it was just Caitlin Clark. Caitlin Clark was taking all the hits. Caitlin Clark was taking all the abuse. But this year they've added Sophie Cunningham. She gets more flagrant fouls on her than anybody in the league besides Caitlin Clark. And Aaliyah Boston, she's been taking hits as well. But the worst thing is the consistency. So they don't call flagrant fouls, or most of the time, Caitlin Clark could be held for an entire game at a time. They don't call fouls. They don't call common fouls. But then when it's the Indiana Fever, guess what? Touch foul here, touch foul here. They call absolutely nothing.
Inside Gainbridge Fieldhouse, the fallout was immediate. Concessionaires who had tripled pastry orders stared at racks of unsold sugar cream squares. Pop-up merch booths offering limited-run Team Clark versus Team Collier jerseys quietly slashed tags by 40% before tip-off. Local brewers who'd sponsored can release parties saw foot traffic decline by a third. Beyond the arena, boutique hotels along the canal reported same-day cancellations. Families who'd booked 2-night packages now opting for a Saturday checkout. The pain wasn't limited to small businesses. The league itself forfeited appearance fees and activations priced around Clark's star power. That $25 million windfall? City economists predict it will land closer to $15 million, a shortfall big enough to sour civic enthusiasm the next time a mega event comes up for bid. So how did Commissioner Kathy Engelbert respond? In her Saturday press conference, she praised constructive dialogue with more than 40 players, acknowledged no one is ever happy with officiating, and pivoted to sponsor shoutouts. Reporters pressed for specifics, additional refs on crews, expanded replay, a flagrant review war room, but left with platitudes about putting the best product on the floor.
I know as a fan of sports for 60 years now, I know that, no one's ever happy with officiating. All sports deal with it, but we're working hard to make sure we're putting the best product out on the court, and our officiating then follows that.
In the scrum outside, veteran guard Natasha Cloud rolled her eyes. We don't need corporate, we need whistles. The tone-deaf optics fueled fan frustration already brewing on social media, where the hashtags #ProtectTwenty22 and #FixTheRefs trended through the weekend. Engelbert's refusal to draw a bright line between safety and spectacle makes sponsors nervous. Brand managers may tolerate controversy, but they will not bankroll a sport that visibly sidelines its top attraction. The commissioner's challenge is no longer incremental growth, it is crisis containment in public view.
I mean, you're going to mess around, and a large, massive group of fans are going to be like, enough is enough. We've never had to see anything like it in sports, but you don't see these other leagues going around talking crazy about their fan bases all the time, like this league does. It's continuous. They're running their mouth about the people that are paying money to see them. You don't have other jobs where people walk up. You're in a public job that's in front of the world.
Strip away the all-star branding, and this moment crystallizes a deeper question. Can a league scale when its business model leans so heavily on a single superstar? It's not a knock on Clark. Jordan carried the early 90s NBA. Tiger rescued golf ratings, and Conor McGregor dragged UFC into the mainstream. But each of those leagues eventually built infrastructure, rule protections, marketing pipelines, revenue sharing, to survive nights when the headliner sat. The WNBA, flush with its first taste of mass market relevance, now faces that same maturation test. Expansion franchises are on the horizon, broadcast rights up for renewal, and a CBA set to expire October 31s. Labor leaders already hint at a work stoppage if investment in player safety and compensation lags viewership gains. The economic high ground the WNBA occupies today could erode if the league can't demonstrate it values its talent as more than a marketing asset. First, whistle the contact, consistently, early, and everywhere. Analysts estimate a 12 to 15% whistle uptick would meaningfully reduce collision loads without grinding pace. Second, expand game day rosters from 11 to 13 and fund charter travel league-wide. Fatigued bodies break faster. Third, adopt a transparent injury reporting and fine system modeled after the NBA's last 2-minute reports, so accountability is public rather than whispered. Fourth, centralize star marketing to broaden the spotlight. Paige Beckers, Aaliyah Boston, and Juju Watkins already have national followings. Elevate them so every broadcast has at least one A-list storyline, not just Clark or bust. Finally, engage local economies with contingency-based activations, tiered sponsorships that flex if a star withdraws, protecting small vendors from sudden revenue cliffs. None of these fixes cost as much as the credibility the league just lost. Every day they wait, they run the risk fans will treat the W like that unsold ticket, something to dump the moment the headline changes. The All-Star Game went on, of course. There were pyrotechnics, a 4-point shot gimmick, a Liberty mascot stirring drama, and Nafisa Collier hoisting the MVP crystal, moments that would have trended any other year. But the empty seats were louder than the music. They asked one question over and over. How valuable is momentum if you can't keep your star healthy enough to play? The answer will define the WNBA's next decade. Fans have shown they will invest, travel, and chant until they're hoarse, so long as the league shows equal commitment to protecting the players who inspire them. If you care about the future of women's basketball, demand better. Tweet the clips, tag the sponsors, write the commissioner. Celebrate the growth, but refuse to accept a status quo that sidelines superstars for preventable reasons. The message from Indianapolis is crystal clear. Without action, the boom can bust overnight. With action, the W could turn today's cautionary tale into tomorrow's case study and how to get it right.